Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming podcast from Co-op 64. Today, we are finally talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart World. But before we get into that, Nick, how are we doing?
Doing well. I just told you that I had Biddy Bop last night for dinner. It was great. That is one of the more healthy fast food type places out there, I guess.
I guess.
Hey, I'm having a cucumber on it, that don't count it. But everything's all good and somewhat healthy, and then you just load it up with so much yum sauce that there's no way that those are good calories.
No.
But I'm having a great morning. I had a chill weekend. Excited to be on this podcast with you. We have a really fun day of content ahead of us, including shooting the Death Stranding 1 spoiler cast, something that we promised for Patreon forever ago, it feels like at this point. Finally beat it. Finally happening. I was talking to Brady about this. This game might be the second most interesting game to talk about, maybe in all video games.
Yeah.
Only behind, I think, The Last of Us Part 2. So that's how I'm going to tee up that podcast. I think it's going to be a phenomenal conversation.
Yeah, I don't know where you're at with it. So you've been saving that for that discussion.
Connor's been like, you love it. I'm like, I've never once said that I love this game. So
you better love it.
It's going to be a very fun conversation. I'm very, very excited about it. Connor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I had a pretty chilled out weekend as well. I'm not playing a lot. My thumb hurts right now for some reason, so I'm trying to kind of rest it. I need my thumb to be in tip-top shapes for all the gaming that I'm going to be doing over the next few months, so I gotta rest.
We got Death Stranding because well,
that's on the triggers. Luckily.
Yeah, that's true. That's all
it's gonna be a little bit better for that.
I don't know if you realize, the deluxe edition, I'm pretty sure you get it 2 days early. So
Monday?
I think it's Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which the fact that we're going to be playing Death Stranding 2 in 2 days, I get a 4 day break from Death Stranding, and then we're right back in it, baby. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So I've just been grinding in Pokemon, getting Pokemon up in level. We're doing pretty good. We're cooking. I got the Versus Seeker, I got the EXP share, and that's helping a whole bunch with the leveling process. So that's been good. But yeah, nothing else really going on in my world. So let's just hop right into the housekeeping.
Holy
here.
smokes. I feel like we need to talk for an extra 8 minutes about a Mission Impossible movie or something. We're getting straight into the housekeeping. Golly.
This show is made possible by our lovely supporters over on Patreon. If you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do it, and you get a whole bunch of extra content by doing so. At that lowest tier, you get this show and the Casual Gaming News Conversation 3 days early, as well as bonus episodes every Thursday. Episodes like the Death Stranding review discussion spoiler cast thing. We've also done spoiler casts on Expedition 33, South of Midnight, Split Fiction. We've done discussions about trophies, the future of PlayStation and Xbox, a breakdown of Season 2 of The Last of Us, a whole bunch of great episodes over there on the Patreon exclusively, where if you sign up now, you're getting a whole back catalog as well. So a lot of value in that lowest tier.
About 25 hours of content right now. And that is lowballing it. It is. There's so much over there, so go check it out. There's a lot of fun content over there.
And if you want even more content at the $10 tier, you get the Co-op 64 podcast, which is a general conversational podcast. You get Recollecting Retro, which is our retro collecting show where we take you to stores, or I go through one of my collections for a particular console. We just shot one going to Vacuums and Video Games in Dayton and picked up a few games, and we're shooting the second part of that today, going over what I got from that store. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And you also get 2 additional bonus TikToks every other week. At the highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast, and you get the opportunity to write in for a chance to be the 4th topic on the Co-op 64 podcast. Over on the Twitch side of things, I am continuing on with The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past on Wednesdays. Nick is starting up Super Metroid on Tuesday and Thursday.
Let's go.
We are continuing on with the Pokemon Nuzlocke on Mondays. All been a lot of fun, so come tune in 7 to 10 Eastern Standard Time on Twitch.
Super Metroid's about to be wild, Connor. Yeah. This is one that I get a lot of crap for not playing retro games all the time. This is one of the GOATs, apparently. I'm very excited.
I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody who played Symphony of the Night, which obviously came out after this, but is in that same kind of conversation, have a guide. ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to need one for a lot of this game. Metroidvanias are just very confusing on the backtracking and the where you're supposed to go, what you're supposed to have to go do this thing or whatever. So
I will have a guide minimized on my screen where it is part of this game. By my understanding of it, I listened to, I forget who was talking about it recently, but somebody was just like, part of the fun is getting lost. Like you want to go in and have that moment. And for
I
me,
get that.
Metroid Prime has some great moments where it is the idea of this isn't really like it's Metroid Prime. I don't know how to spoil this game. It doesn't have like story content, but there's a moment where like you'll see like a track for the morph ball to go on, and you're like, I know I will get that ability one day, but I don't have it yet.
Right.
And then you get that ability and it feels great. And then you're like, oh shit. And the dots connection, like, that's a video game. The reason that Metroid Prime is like so high class is that feeling nonstop over and over again. And so I'm very excited to go and get the 2D version of that.
Over in our Discord, we have a community of over 2,700 members. If you want to join up in the conversation, make some friends, play some games together, you can join up. Link in the bio for that. Merch, we're working on switching merch stores right now, so stay tuned on that.
But if you did order something in the past couple months, apparently it's getting shipped out now. So we're really trying to cut ties, move on, all that good stuff. But you should be getting your stuff right now. We've seen some of those deliveries come through. The merch looks great, but we will be moving on from that storefront.
And lastly, leave us nice reviews over on Apple Podcast services. It gets the show out to more people, and we would really appreciate that. Alrighty, Nick, let's get into those hot takes. You want to take the reins on the first one here?
Sure. My video game hot take for this week is that we cannot compare the Nintendo Switch 2 and the ROG Ally or just the ROG Ally Xbox version that's coming out later this year. They're not comparable. They're doing two different things. The first thing is the price is so different and so largely different that we can't even like talk about them as similar products. One is $450 right now. The ROG Ally is anywhere from like $700 to $900 for the highest version. I assume that it's going to be a $800,000 version probably for the Xbox version that's coming out later this year, compared to $450 for the Nintendo Switch 2. One is supposed to be basically a PC in your hands, and if you are a diehard, like, love video games, you love your Steam library, you want to go and take every game on the go in the highest fidelity, sure, pick one of these things up. But the fact that people are comparing this product to what is currently one of the cheapest consoles on the market, and it's a handheld, and you can plug it into your TV, they're doing two completely separate, completely different things. I don't think that they're comparable, other than the fact that they both are handhelds. Other than that, one is a $450 home console where you get to go and play a bunch of party games with your friends and a couple amazing Nintendo exclusives. The other one is your like super souped up PC in your hands. They're doing two different things. They're not the same. Don't compare them.
Yeah, I don't really disagree on any of this. I don't really have much interest in these handheld PCs. I don't have a use case personally for something like that. But when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 and why I want that, it's because of those first party exclusives. So like you're not going to get those on the ROG Ally. So I don't really have like a reason to even compare them in the first place. So
I'm just seeing there's been discourse, and that's normally when Connor and I do hot takes. It's normally there's a wrong in the world, and we need to make it right on this podcast.
Yeah, you see something that sparks it, which is the same as what my hot take is going to be. My gaming hot take for this week is that Final Fantasy doesn't need to be turn-based. I don't care if it ever goes back to being turn-based, and Final Fantasy is about the feeling that those games give you, and the turn-based combat is like the least important thing when it comes to the success and the draw of Final Fantasy, in my opinion. The move towards action in Final Fantasy has been a steady one, from 13 kind of having this more like dynamic paradigm shifting situation to then 15 being more action focused, and then 16 obviously completely action focused. 7 remake and rebirth having like that middle ground between stopping time and ATB and full on action. We've moved completely away from the older turn-based format, and I think that is totally fine. If they were to go back to turn-based, I would be happy about it. I would be cool on that, but it's like I don't come to Final Fantasy for turn-based combat. I come to Final Fantasy for an excellent cast of characters, a really broad, epic story, excellent music, chocobos and moogles. Like that's what I'm looking for here. So the idea that adding turn-based back into Final Fantasy is going to fix the series and like fix the direction that we've gone for the people who have fallen off in the new age, I think is fool's gold. There's other things that you might want to see change in Final Fantasy that could draw people back in who are older fans. But I think that the direction that the series has gone is perfectly acceptable. I think that change is necessary in a series that has gone on for this long. And you get your turn-based fix across the industry right now in so many different games. Octopath Traveler, Like a Dragon, Bravely Default. Like there's so many Persona, Metaphor. Like why does Final Fantasy need to be the turn-based game when you get that fix everywhere else? And what we're doing in Final Fantasy right now is really interesting and really cool. So I just want them to make whatever they want to fucking make. If that's turn-based, great. If it's not turn-based, great. I think that Final Fantasy is in a really good spot right now. And I don't think adding turn-based in is going to fix that problem, whatever conceived problem people have with modern-day Final Fantasy. So, yeah. That's where I'm at.
I completely agree. I mean, we wouldn't have gotten the version of active time battle that we have in Remake without Evolution. But then you bring up 13. Another one, a big one, is 14. We're playing a freaking MMO. The Final Fantasy could be many different things, and it can be awesome in many different versions. I don't think it needs to be turn-based. I think that very similar. Yeah, if it went to turn-based, cool. But, like, we just got 16 that has arguably the best performance in the series and best protagonist, so the writing is still top notch there, and that's some of the best boss fights ever. Like, right. And not just in Final Fantasy, but like in video games.
And I love the combat in 16. I know a lot of people are kind of
the rotation, dude, of these different abilities and everything, unbelievable. So yeah, no, I completely agree. As someone that enjoys a Final Fantasy or two, I think that it can be whatever it wants to be and still be awesome as long as it delivers, like you said, the core aspects that make Final Fantasy Final Fantasy. It's not turn-based. It's not. It is great characters, great story, great music, great world building. That's what makes a Final Fantasy a Final Fantasy.
Right. It's an intangible feeling. That somebody asked me this during the Q&A, that like, what is Final Fantasy and like why, like what links all of them together? And it's like, I don't have a good answer for it. It's just the way that it makes me feel. Like when I'm playing a Final Fantasy, I feel a very specific way. And these games are all very different, but they all capture that same magic. And that's what I think is important for Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy 16 captures it in the same way that Final Fantasy 10 captures it, in the same way that Final Fantasy 6 captures it.
Yeah.
And those are all very different games.
Final Fantasy 9 and Final Fantasy 16, for some reason, evoke the same like feeling, and it touches my heart in the same exact way.
Right.
And like those games are very much apples and oranges.
Completely different.
Yeah, like
one of them is like very whimsical and like almost like fun, and then the other one's like super dark. And
the other one is like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, dude. Right. Clive is just so good. I think that we're getting to the point, Connor, where he's in the top 3. Like he might be number 2, honestly.
All time,
or my favorite characters. Yeah,
that's fair. I got to get back to platinuming Final Fantasy 16. I think about it all the time.
Yeah,
because I didn't play the DLC, but I need to get through Final Fantasy mode, the difficulty or whatever, and beat out like the main campaign, and then I can go do all the DLC stuff. It's so annoying.
I don't know how we're gonna be able to make it happen, but we need Brady to play FF16, because Brady would fucking love it. It just Game of Thrones and everything. By the way, you mentioned the Q&A. Go and check out the Q&A over on Patreon. It's really good. I listened to all 42 minutes. Just flew by. Just literally flew by. It was so good. Yeah. So I just want to shout that one out.
Thank you.
I don't really like shouting out a piece of content we're doing over there. It's actually like, you did a great job with that one.
Yeah, I'm glad people like the Q&A. They are so low effort in comparison to like everything else we do, of like having to like come over here and sit down and record this. It's like, just send us your questions and I'll sit there and answer them for 40 minutes or whatever. But like, I think that people like them so much that it's like, okay.
Yeah, and like the questions are obviously so tailored to the show host and everything, where like you got a lot of recollecting questions, and I'm like, I would know none of these things, and I know you like to talk about it, so it filters the conversation in a very interesting way. I've done one a couple months ago. Connor's done one now, so when we're getting Brady on a bonus casual gaming conversation Q&A.
That's a good question. That'd be funny.
That would be a good time.
Alrighty, let's hop into the Switch 2. We've had discussions about this kind of sprinkled out throughout all the podcasts recently since launch. but we haven't put a score on it. We haven't really done our overall thoughts. Do you want to kick this off, Nick?
Sure.
Should I tee this up?
Sure. Tee it up. I like when you tee things up just because it like puts me, in the batter's box. Like it allows me to like get in the zone. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, tee it up, Connor.
We've had the Switch 2 for a few weeks now. Nick, what are your overall thoughts?
I think the Switch 2 is exactly what it needs to be. It needs to be the successor to one of the highest selling consoles ever and one of the best consoles ever. I think that in its current version and current form, it is a great console. I'm going to give the Switch 2 an 8 out of 10. I think that just hopping into overall thoughts, it's exactly what it needs to be. And that's going to make a lot of people unhappy. They want the whimsical. They want just things to be different. They like change when it comes to Nintendo consoles. But we're at the point when it comes to fidelity and just moving towards the future of technology where we're not going to get just a GameCube-esque thing where the controller is very different and we have a C-stick. We're starting to perfect these things. And now it's just about tweaking and minor improvements. And there's some major improvements in here, though, too, when it comes to just how good these games look now, how well they finally run. We're talking about tech that was basically 10 years old when it came to the chip that's made from 2014 that was in the Switch 1. Finally, we're having some of these games run properly, 4K 60. On a Nintendo console. That's a major upgrade. That's a major improvement. When it comes to just adding things like the GameCube backlog also adds an ability for the Switch 2. It's just like, yeah, heck yeah. They're doing a lot of small corrections that are resulting in major improvements for me. I think it's a great console. I don't think that it's a home run at this point, though. Part of that's the library. Part of it is the fact that people are having many issues when it comes to scratching their screens and having to send things back. And the whole launch process of this didn't go great for a lot of consumers. And I understand that. As somebody that has just had it basically docked since getting it, it's been a pretty easy process and everything. But I understand that there's frustrations for a lot of people out there for those types of things. And I don't want to just like only talk about my experience when I know that those things exist and persist. I've had a couple issues when it comes to network connection and just some other just small things. But other than that, I really do enjoy this system. Overall, I think it's great. Connor, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, after a few weeks of playing the Nintendo Switch 2, I think that this is exactly what it needed to be, and that makes it inherently a little bit disappointing. I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10 after this initial few weeks of playing the console. I think from like a performance perspective, it's very impressive. I think that being able to run games like Cyberpunk 2077 at this fidelity on a handheld console is very impressive, especially for a Nintendo console. Stuff like Zelda Breath of the Wild, which has been my main game that I've been playing on this at 4K 60, is very... It's mind-blowing, honestly. Like, it's such a nice fresh coat of paint for a game that I think is one of the best games of all time, and being able to experience this in this frame rate is honestly like it's such a better experience that I think that it makes that initial playthrough kind of just like, how did we put up with that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, geez. And then you have your launch title, Mario Kart World, that I think is very impressive. It looks great. It runs great. It has a lot of the best courses that we've ever seen in a Mario Kart game. The online is super fun with the Knockout Tour and everything. But it is very much still just the Nintendo Switch 1, but better. And that is a little bit disappointing. So yeah, I'm giving it a 7.5. I think ergonomically, the Joy-Cons feel a lot better, but I still do not like playing this thing in handheld mode. Like, it just does not feel great in your hands than an actual controller or like a smaller handheld does. It does run a little bit hot in comparison to the Switch 1, which is to be expected, but it is a downside for a handheld console that you're holding in your hands to get hot if you're sweaty like I am. Like, it makes that problem a lot worse. But the bigger buttons and everything feel amazing. The magnets, cool, doesn't detract or take away anything for me. But like, it doesn't like improve anything in comparison to like the sliding on process of the Switch 1. So the screen, I think, is great. I understand the frustration that it's not OLED, but I do think that for 450, for the specs that you're getting, for the screen that you're getting, for the build quality, the better kickstand, I think it's a very solid piece of tech. But I don't think it's exactly lighting the world on fire. But that's exactly what I wanted. Like leading up to this, I was like, I just want the Switch 2 to just be a better Switch 1, and that's exactly what it is. But it's just that.
Yeah.
They didn't surprise and delight me in any capacity. So with that in mind, 7.5, I think that the thing that matters to me here is the software, and we're still TBD on where this is all going to go. But I think for the first 6 months, my feelings on the Switch 2 are going to change drastically because of all the games that I'm going to be playing on this throughout this year. Metroid, Donkey Kong, Pokemon, Kirby Air Riders, Mario Kart World. Like that's a very solid year. And if I'm picking up my Switch every month to play a Nintendo first-party banger, I think that I'm going to look at my Switch 2 very fondly by the end of the year. So
for sure. I think that hopping in now, it would be good to just actually lay out what we've played, what we've been doing, how we've been doing it. You know, like we're talking about a console that is such it take us back, you know, to like Wednesday night before SDF. It's been 2 weeks. It feels like it's been 2 years of playing this thing at this point. How's your experience overall, Ben? You said that you mainly were hopping into Breath of the Wild. What have you tried out? What have you enjoyed playing on this thing?
Yeah, I've mainly been playing Mario Kart online. I did the Grand Prix on my own and unlocked all the courses and everything. Did some of the open world stuff, not like a ton of it. Enough to like really get a full picture though of what that whole process looks like. And I do feel like you don't have to do much to get a full picture of what that open world feels like. And then enjoying like Knockout Tour and everything online, and that's been a lot of fun. And that's just been like my pick up and play it for like an hour and then go do something else experience when it comes to the Switch 2 for Mario Kart. And then Breath of the Wild has been my sink in for 6 hours at a time and do shrines and do the Divine Beasts and explore this world and re-experience this game that I haven't played since 2017. I feel very nostalgic for this game. For a game that isn't even 10 years old. Like I just remember getting the Switch 1 and that feeling of playing this game for the first time and how magical it was, and now being able to play it in 4K 60. It's like, damn, dude, like this looks great and runs great. And it runs like how I remember it running, if that makes sense. Like how I think it probably looks and ran, because I don't have that like exact comparison point of like putting them right next to each other. But I think going back and like comparing it, I would be like, oh, like geez Louise. But yeah, Breath of the Wild is great, obviously. Like that's not a new revelation. I did Cyberpunk on the plane and played through the first few missions. Cyberpunk, it's cool that you can use mouse controls. I messed around with that to get that experience, and it works flawlessly. Honestly, it works exactly how you'd expect it to. If you have a PS5 or a high-end PC, though, like you're only doing Cyberpunk on Switch because you can take it on the go. Like I have no reason to play it at home. So there's that aspect to it. But for a handheld version of this game, I do think that it is pretty impressive. I bought Yakuza 0 and Bravely Default. I have not booted them up yet. I booted up Yakuza, got to the menu, and then was like, I don't really want to do this right now. And I went and took a nap.
You're never touching that game. You're never touching that game.
You're just saying that's
on the Switch 2. No, I'm not. I this is one, Connor, I don't do that. I don't say you're not doing something to get a rise out of you. I know for a fact you're never playing that game on the Switch 2. I think that there's a good chance that one day you go and play it on the PS5 or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's has it felt like a good couple weeks with this console?
Yeah, it's just underwhelming. Like the fact that I'm playing Breath of the Wild, a game that came out in 2017 on my new tech to like really sink my teeth into it, like is disappointing. Like that kind of sucks. I can't deny that like taking on the go and like having this big screen and the bigger buttons and like just like the feel of the console and it being this new shiny thing like does feel pretty amazing and does look great, but it's still, I'm playing Breath of the Wild on a new console. Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
So it makes the whole experience a little bit disappointing. Like I played Mario Kart, but Mario Kart is like, that's for friends. That's for sitting on the couch together and playing races and Grand Prix, and you can only get so much out of online personally. I know other people like really like digging into that online space and like getting their rating up or whatever, like that number up. But like for me, it's like, okay, I play for an hour and I'm like, I'm good. Like
Yeah.
I can go do something else. And like we're gonna talk about Mario Kart and like how good that game is, but like and it's just not that single player experience that I want from a home console in the first few weeks. You need that. I'm sorry. I think that is absolutely necessary to feeling great about a console at launch. And I do think a lot of consoles have this problem. It's not just the Switch 1 or the Switch 2 that like is running into this issue. Like PS4 getting Knack and Killzone Shadowfall on day one. Like it's like, okay, like
Yeah.
these are fine games and it doesn't really make you feel like you're and you can rush through those really fast as well. That like you need something that you can like really define the console with, rather than something that you're gonna play with friends on and off like Mario Kart. So
Yeah. For me, what a 2 weeks it's been, man. It's been a lot of fun. We're obviously gonna hop into Mario Kart World on the back half of this episode in a more deep dive fashion and everything. But I would say that's been 90% of my playtime has been on Mario Kart. The other games I've been hopping into are Street Fighter 6. Game looks very good. It is so night and day, the difference between Street Fighter 6 and the way it's running on the Switch 2 compared to Mortal Kombat 1 on the Switch 1, where that game looks horrifically bad. And Mortal Kombat 1 is a good to great looking game. I don't think it's like unbelievable by any means, and it ran like shit. Whereas Street Fighter 6, I think that art style and the way that the paint splashes work across the screen and everything, like that game is doing so much all the time visually, and it is so impressive that it is able to run it in a way that I'm like, this is good. Like, this is really good. I feel like I'm not dropping a bunch of frames or anything. I feel like the just overall game feel, which is so important to a fighting game, is pretty tight on the Switch. Connor's like, oh man, I've been playing a 7-year-old, 8-year-old game in Breath of the Wild. Dude, I'm going back to 2002. I'm playing a shit ton of Soul Calibur 2 also on this thing, and it's been a blast. I think that.
can you play online for that?
Yeah.
Nice.
And apparently the online's bad though. I have not tried it yet.
Oh.
That's one that I played a couple hours of. I just want to play as Link, just in versus matches, and have a good time doing so.
Right.
I think that Soul Calibur though, really fun. Like, and the fact that it's there day one GameCube has been awesome. I was on TikTok Live last night. This is something I like to do when I get very, very like I cannot sleep and it's late at night. I like to go press on TikTok Live and find a game I like. And I've been watching a lot of people play Expedition 33, a lot of Final Fantasies, a lot of Kingdom Hearts, just like good like 15 minutes, 20 minutes of watching people play some content at the end of the night. It's been great. A lot of people are hopping into Wind Waker right now and like on their Switch 2 with that port and everything. And it looks great. It runs great. That's a total easy way to go and play that game now. And it goes back to our Switch reactions, where it's like the fact that like those games are just now available because a lot of people don't have a GameCube laying around is super nice. And there's that huge nostalgia hit for a ton of folks. But then there's also people like me that's like, I've heard about these games. I want to play them now. And I haven't hopped into F-Zero GX yet, but I also haven't popped into Wind Waker, but I'm having a great time with Soul Calibur. The final game that I've been playing a ton of is Fortnite. And like when I say I'm playing a ton of it, this is the first time I've had the entire map unlocked in Fortnite in probably a year or two. Like where I've done more than just a couple hot drops. I am loving my experience. I think that a lot of times I've said it, and after I've said it, I almost like don't believe my own sentence where I've said Fortnite's like one of my favorite games ever, and it's one of my comfort games, because it's just something I haven't been able to sink a lot of hours into recently because the channel and we're just constantly playing something new. But it's been a fucking blast to go and just hop into a really well-made battle royale and have it run this good. Because my big experience on the Switch 1 was playing a lot of Fortnite when this thing initially came out and trying to have fun with friends because everyone and their mom was going over to the Lucid's place and somebody's bringing over a PS5 and someone's bringing over a Switch and all of a sudden I'm there with 2 Joy-Cons and I'm playing Fortnite with my buddies and I'm like, this is not running as well as it is on the PS4 or the Xbox One that got brought over also. It now runs well. And it runs well in handheld. It runs well on the big screen. Like, I know how bad that game can feel due to the Switch One, and it doesn't feel bad, which is a big reason that this console, I think, is just great in general. But I think anyone that's like, this is like a 10 out of 10, I'm like, what are we doing? It feels like for the first time ever on a Nintendo console, third-party software feels good. But it doesn't feel like unbelievable. It's not like you're going and having that oh shit moment where it's 4K 120 blow your socks off. It's not a PC, yeah. So I think that it's really impressive tech. I've enjoyed all the games I've gotten to play on it thus far. I think that I'm going to continue to sit on my couch, put that thing in handheld mode, play a fighting game for 30 to 40 minutes in between closing out the workday and before stream and everything. Like the amount of times that it hits 5 o'clock and I'm like, all right, let's play some like casual video games at this point, like not something for review or whatever. Let's play like 30 to 40 minutes. Let's throw on an episode of Love Island and then let's get ready for then we'll do dinner at 6 and then I'm on stream at 7. That's been sort of the routine for me the past couple weeks, and it's been like one of my favorite gaming memories I've had in a very long time. Like I'm loving having that moment where I'm like, all right, let's just kick it. Like, let's have that moment. And it's because the catalog there is very me coded. And I think a large part of that is Mario Kart World. But also everything else outside of that, I've had a blast with. I did not think I would play 7 to 10 hours of Fortnite this year. But the Switch 2 is making it. And I would not play Fortnite for 7 to 10 hours if it weren't for the Switch 2, and not even just because it's new hardware, but it's new portable hardware that is super easily accessible, that has the kickstand, that I'm able to sit back on the couch and have the Joy-Cons that actually feel fucking good. I think that a lot of people are like, the Joy-Cons are still like not a great controller, and I understand that. Like,
They're so much better though.
They're 100 times better. Like, I don't think it can be overstated how much better they are, because one feels like just cheap plastic that like it has no weight to it. It's my entire like hand wants to wrap around the entire controller like a fretboard on a guitar. These feel like a actual controller. Like there's almost it is wide enough for the back of your hands to naturally go on there and not like wrap all the way around. The buttons are bigger. Like, and as somebody that loves to play the Switch with Joy-Cons, I think that they fucking knocked it out of the park. I think this is the best version possible of these controllers, honestly.
Yeah.
So, and that's all due to the Switch 2 letting me prop it up, sit back on the couch.
How are you looking at the screen from that far away?
I normally have my table like literally touching my knees, and then I sit back. So I'm about like 15, but not 15 feet. I was like a couple feet. Anyways, now moving on to the screen. The screen's unbelievable, and that's another reason why I'm able to go and see it that well. The screen looks great. Like it looks really fucking good. And I'm not Mr. OLED. I'm not like didn't have a 4K TV until a few days ago. Like I don't care about resolution basically at all. It is undeniable how good this screen looks in comparison to the Switch One. It's night and day. Like, and so all these small upgrades, all of these death by 1,000 cuts that the Switch 2 has made, like, it is a great console. I was very similar around that 7.5 area with you, like where I was like, it's very good. Like I really enjoy, but like I'm just having too much fun with the capabilities that the Switch is giving me. And when I look at that product, I think that it's a great product. I think it's an easy recommend product. And then you also talk about something that we like. If we were going to talk about and review this with the idea of like what this console is going to end up being, which is a console with the next Mario and the next Animal Crossing and the next Pokemon and the next mainline Zelda, 3D, 2D, all these things, like it's going to most likely rival the Switch 1 library when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
So like the promise is all green grass and high tides.
Yeah. For me, it's just it met my expectations exactly where I thought they were going to be. It's just, it's all going to come down to software as time goes on. Like, that's what a console is.
Yeah.
So, like, is the tech good? Is the tech impressive? Yes. I think that it's rock solid. For the software right now, it's just a little bit disappointing.
Yeah.
And we'll see in the future where it's going to go. And we all know where it's going to go. That this is going to get bolstered by all those games that you just said. So, is it disappointing? Kinda, but it's expected disappointment, if that makes sense. Where it's like, I'm buying this knowing that I'm investing in the Nintendo catalog in the future. I'm not buying it just for Mario Kart, but I'm reviewing it today with just Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So you're not getting wowed by the jump between the two platforms from like just like a physical perspective. From like it looks just like a bigger Switch 1. So there's that. And then from like a specs perspective, I think a lot of people do care about. I care about like games running better and looking better, but you're still playing an old game that's running better and looking better. So that's a little bit like of a moot point for a lot of people. Like,
totally.
How many people are going back and playing Breath of the Wild right now or Tears of the Kingdom? Like,
a lot.
I'm sure a good handful, but I imagine most people are buying a Nintendo Switch 2 and playing Mario Kart, and that is their experience on the console for the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then with what Mario Kart is, it's just like it's a multiplayer experience for the most part for most people. That once you do the Grand Prix, it's all about online races or playing on the couch with other people. So it just like nothing wows here that really pushes me to be like, this is a great must-have console today. But I do think that if you're gonna buy it in a month, if you're gonna buy it at the end of the year, it's like, what is the difference?
Yeah.
You're paying $450 now. You're paying $450 later. If you have 5 games to play on it, are you going to play all 5 games all at once? Like, you're going to buy those 5 games that I listed that are coming out this year and play them like all back to back to back?
No,
it's like you want to play, in my opinion, I want to play games as they come out. So then I have time to enjoy them and then get ready for the next thing and then play something in between them. It's like, you're not going to buy Metroid Prime, Donkey Kong, Kirby Air Riders, Pokemon, and Mario Kart all on the same day and play all of them like equally. Well, something is going to get put on the back burner and put stuck into the backlog. And it's like, you might as well just buy it now if you're interested in it.
Totally.
Because that's not going to change anything, because it could go up in price potentially, like depending on tariffs and stuff or whatever. But like, I mean, I don't think that's likely, but I'm just saying, like, it's going to be $450 for the foreseeable future. If you're interested, I would say consider buying it.
Yeah, and that's,
I recommend it.
I easily recommend it. And that's where I'm sort of at, where it's like, it's the easiest to recommend because the promise is just so bright ahead. Like, it's so obvious. And then what the capability of it is, this is, as of right now, one of the cheapest gaming handhelds when it comes to just general of most things for $500 or up to $900 with the ROG, right? Or it's also one of the best exclusive libraries that we're going to get down the line, and it's one of the cheapest home consoles you have too. Like the piece of tech that it is, just in general from a tech side of things, I think is very impressive. The way that it is and it's only muted by the fact that the Switch 1 is also, in my opinion, even though the hardware was dated as hell, it's a very impressive console. Like, just the way that you're able to, pick up, go, do what you need to do, come back, plop it in, play Breath of the Wild on the big screen. Like, that works, and that system's unbelievable. That's the other part when people are like, talking about the ROG or the Asus, just being like, why would you just pick up one of those? It's like, it's so seamless. It's just, it works. Everything works with the Switch ecosystem so fucking well. And at the end of the day, like, when I look over at my systems where I have all 3 Xbox Series X, a PS5, and now the Switch 2, I look at that and I'm like, I know how this is going to go. My PlayStation is my first party banger exclusives. Go see Yote later this year. My Xbox is my Game Pass machine, and my Switch 2 is where I get not only my Nintendo exclusives, it is going to be great to have for travel, and it's probably where I'm playing basically every indie game coming out. Like, I'm gonna hop into Hollow Knight this year, and eventually, because I want to beat it before Silksong and everything. I'm gonna play the fuck out of it on my Switch. When we do this is a little bit of a tease for Extra Life, but Extra Life, one of the thermometer goals that we have is me playing Hades in one weekend, and it's like I think I'm gonna play that on the Switch too, just because if I want to hop in on a roguelike down the line, you bet your fucking ass I'm gonna want to play it on the go, and then. I don't have Balatro currently downloaded on it. I'm gonna download Balatro eventually on this thing just to go and have that easy let's go type of experience on the plane, because when I played it on the Switch 1 on the plane, I had a fucking blast. So like the use cases when it comes to somebody that has all the options is so deep, and that is day one right now.
And
but
that was a Switch 1 too.
Yeah.
Like that, all the same arguments or whatever. Like that's the point.
And that's what I think that right now, if I had to like grade the Switch 1, we'd be looking back and we wouldn't be talking too much about the hardware. We would a little bit. I would give it like a 9.5 though, because the software is like one of the best lineups ever.
Yeah.
If not the best. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where the future of this goes and everything. But obviously during this conversation, we had one large omission to the entire conversation, and that was Mario Kart World. So do you want to hop into this review?
You want to see this one up?
Sure. Connor and I have both been playing Mario Kart World. Connor, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to give Mario Kart World an 8 out of 10. I think this is a great game with some of the best Mario Kart aspects throughout the series, but it does come with a lot of caveats that hold it back from being one of the best Mario Kart games ever. I think that the shining star here is Knockout Tour. I think that is the best game mode that has ever been added to any Mario Kart game. It just hectic, amazing fun of stressing out about hitting that next checkpoint at a certain place to keep going in the race is so much fun and addictive. It keeps me coming back for more constantly. When it comes to the Grand Prix, the new intermission aspects, I think are a bit hit or miss, where I think in some instances the straightaways can get a little bit tiring, but the variety that it does provide, I think, is really exciting and really fun and gives a secondary aspect to just being able to do the 3-lap courses in versus modes. You get the best of both worlds here that I think allows for 2 different types of experiences that are both very solid with the Grand Prix and the 3-lap versus races. I think the online is much more stable than in Mario Kart 8. It's much easier to kind of open up a party, get people to join, have a good time doing Knockout Tour or versus races, or just playing with randoms online. I think is super fun. There is some connectivity issues that I've had, but nothing crazy that has really detracted too much from the experience. But the fact that I've gotten this deep in the review and I have not mentioned the title aspect of the game, the world, the Mario Kart world of it all, the open world aspect of Mario Kart World, I think is pretty weak. I don't think it is bad by any means, but I don't think it's excellent. And when it's the selling point of your game, I think you need to do better than what is provided here. I think the P block challenges are fun and interesting and give you something single player to do on your own, which is more than a lot of Mario Kart games can tout. I don't think that Mario Kart games are exactly a lot of fun to play single player, and this gives you something to do, but it does feel like just something to do rather than a shining aspect of a game when it is your biggest selling point. So as somebody who doesn't play Mario Kart necessarily for that single player aspect, I'm really enjoying the Grand Prix, the Knockout Tour, battle mode's interesting, time trial, seeing people go absolutely crazy with the new aspects of wall riding and grinding is really impressive, but I keep coming back to that open world aspect being really lackluster, and that holds back the overarching experience for me, as well as for the online having the option to toggle on or off whether or not you want to do the 3 laps or you want to do the intermission and drive to the next course. I think providing that option would be a huge positive, and the fact that that's not here is a negative, because I, for the most part,
just press start and then you can go and select for online.
You can change
you can just select if you press start when it's giving that pops open the open world, and then you can just go and select 3 laps.
If you're in an online randomized matchmaking lobby.
You know how it gives you the 3 options?
I think you can do that for your own lobby. I don't think you can queue up for just online and hit single player race or whatever, it'll
maybe.
just you can change it for yourself. But I'm saying for like an open queue, you need to be able to select. I only want to queue for 3 lap races, or I only want to queue for intermission, or just whatever. Because right now online, most people are selecting random because it'll give you a 3 lap race that's not in the area, because otherwise if you select one of the 3 options, it's driving you to that location, which I like the option to have like both, like the variety there, but I want to be able to choose when I want to just do the 3 laps. And if this isn't a problem, if you're playing with other people like on the couch, you can just select, like you said, do 3 laps and just go enjoy that versus mode aspect of it. But the fact that you can't have that customization is a little bit frustrating. So
for me, I think that Mario Kart World is an amazing game. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I think that's amazing. The first thing I want to toss out is the negative. Yeah, the open world in this game is not great. And they know that. They hide it. When you go and you open up that menu screen and it is Grand Prix in big bold letters and Knockout Tour in bold letters, and then it is a tiny little plus sign that pops you into the free roam. It is hidden. They don't want to go and talk about it. I do think that the titular world aspect is shown off in a beautiful way through Knockout Tour and through the Grand Prix. We're going through the world every single time. But when we're talking about the free roam, which is a big selling point, as someone that loves a good open world racing game, I think that it is weak. I think that it is unimpressive. And that is disappointing. Everything else in this game is unfucking believable. I think that this has by far the best races in any Mario Kart game ever. I think that the driving from race to race aspect, a lot of people are a little bit lower on, because I think that on the first Grand Prix especially, it is really just that straight line going. But then other than that, you have just some of like the most beautiful environments around you as you're driving race to race, whether it is a giant like sandworm coming through the sky trying to eat you, or if you are going and jumping off waves in the ocean. It's unbelievable, the race to race driving, and the fact that you can go from point A to point B and have it be a cool experience, and then point B to point A and have it be a completely different experience is so impressive and so cool. I think that the soundtrack in this game is like arguably one of the best mixes of music in any game ever. It is just all of the favorite Mario tracks that you know and love done to the highest degree with some of the best sauce in the entire industry. It is unbelievable how good the music is in this title. And then, like you said, Knockout Tour is just so freaking addicting. It is so much fun. Going and getting first place is electrifying, but even more so when you come in 20th place, it fires me up in such a way that I have to get back to it. And going and seeing my friends have fun while I'm just waiting on the sidelines for the next race does not annoy me. It gets me excited. It makes me want to play the game more. I love this game. I think that it is amazing. I think that when it comes to the free roam, that knocks a full point for me. Like it is not great, but the star of the show, the open world aspect, is done so well in the Grand Prix and in the Knockout Tour that the free roam is okay to be a side course that I play for 20 minutes while I wait for you or Brady or other friends to get on. I think that this game is awesome, and it is one of my favorite games. Like, this is gonna be one of my favorite games ever. I just know that over the next 10 years. So Mario Kart World, amazing, 9 out of 10.
It's similar to how I feel about the Switch 2 as a console, where it's like it's just gonna take time to really write the story for Mario Kart World, because the same thing happened with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was not a 10 out of 10 when I first played it. I was like, this is fun. I played it in my college dorm with a friend from down the hall, and we had a few fun races, and then like I picked it up every once in a while to play some online races, and then it was sprinkled in here and there with friends, but it just took time of like making memories and really learning these courses and understanding that like this game is perfection when it comes to the replayability, when it comes to the course layouts, when it comes to the visuals, when it comes to the music. I think it's a 10 out of 10 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I do. By the way, I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a 9.5.
So here it's just like, I don't know. Like my favorite experiences so far with Mario Kart World have been playing online with the community.
Yeah.
And like having a smile on my face as I throw a red shell at you and know that you're probably like
getting upset.
Damn it, Connor, or whatever. Like that's fun. You don't get that same experience from playing online. And that's what I look for in Mario Kart. So I don't really hold it against the game that I'm not having all those experiences right now, but I know over time I'm going to be having more and more of those experiences. I just look at what the game is now and what I've played so far and what I think is going to be the case as we go along, where I think that the intermission sections of the courses are going to get a little bit stale. And I think that when it comes to the online experience and not having the option to toggle on 3 lap races, I think hurts the overall replayability for me. So like, I just can only come from the perspective of what I have right now, and I know that it's probably going to be different in the future. So
yeah, I think that right now, I think I also want to toss this out there. I think I've put in roughly 30 to 40 hours into Mario Kart World at this point.
I have no idea on my end.
I have
20?
3-starred every single Grand Prix. I have obviously finished every knockout tour. To get 3 stars on knockout tour, do you know this? You have to get first on every single portion of the race. You need to be in first place every single portion.
Yeah, that's wild.
A lot of people are like, that's really difficult. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna be playing the fuck out of this for so long trying to get that.
Wild.
I have 2 stars on a couple of them, meaning I got it for 5 out of 6 sections. Jeez. When you are on the 4th lap of 6 and you're in first place and you see that blue shell come in. Oh no, I need a win. Oh goodness, it's so much fun. No, this is just like I think shocking no one. I love this game. Like I love Mario Kart Deluxe. It's one of my favorites. I love Forza Horizon 5. That's one of another game I don't shut up about. But like, I think that what they were able to pull off in a large way is kind of similar to the way I talk about Smash Ultimate, of just like the music in this game, the amount of depth of music in those mixes with the harmonica and jazziness and the extra layers is like unbelievable. I think the theme song to this game also is like, I joked about it when the trailer initially dropped, and I was like, I've listened to this song 10 fucking times. Like, I just like this song. I think it's one of my favorite like title songs ever. Like, if not my favorite. Like, I can listen to this. Mario Kart 8's title with like the jazz influence and everything, I think is like really well done. It's unbelievable. Also, we need to toss this one out there. I think that this game has like some of the best courses in any Mario Kart. The Rainbow Road in this game is legitimately like one of the most magical experiences I've ever had in a video game ever. And I think it is by far, in a way, like an elevated, this is like the best course in Mario Kart ever, period. I for me, it was like Sunshine Airport and Mount Wario, and just I'm like, these things are really cool and really fun. And I know that this is like the ultimate Disney ride experience, and that race is just unfucking believable. But no, I think the music in this game is just like so next level that I'm so okay with this game has like 7 different things that I'm like, I don't know how it gets better than this, and that's the only word I could use for it is amazing. So 9 out of 10.
I think this is the soundtrack of the year, personally. Yeah. Sorry, Expedition 33. I think this is way better than that, even though Expedition 33 soundtrack is very, very good.
I'm curious to see how it comes down for me when we get to co-op award season and everything.
I don't think that this will win over something like Expedition 33, but I do think it's better.
I think that here's the thing. I think my vote's gonna be for Expedition 33, like at the end of this year and everything, because I literally 2 days ago posted a song on my story from Expedition 33. I love it.
This shit cooks. This is like one of the best soundtracks of all time.
But Mario Kart World has like, it is cheating
a little bit, because
it's so cheating. It's so cheating. It's so nostalgia. Games, But I'm not a Mario nostalgia dude. I'm not. Like, I don't have this crazy nostalgia for Mario, but there is that moment where I'm just like, oh, what is this? And then like all of a sudden, like it'll click of like what it is, Yoshi's or like what it's pulling from, and it's just like, it is. I getting back to the point. I don't think that like it's going to be mine. I think that it probably should be like the best soundtrack this year.
Yeah.
Like is it the best soundtrack from Rebirth? I was about to say last year too, but I think that Rebirth is also a similar deal of like there's so many songs and they're all so good.
Yeah.
The mixing is also just so well done between the like amount of just pure volume that's coming from the sound of the music, and then also the sound design of items, your cart, and like just the jumps and tricks that you do off them. Everything blends so well together. It is really, really impressive. Oh my gosh, where do you want to go next? We didn't mention this in the review at all. Character roster. I love this roster.
Yeah, me too. And it's a good thing to build off of, honestly. Who are you playing as? Shy Guy?
Shy Guy mainly. I've been playing as the Yosh quite a bit. A little bit of what?
I play as the Penguin.
Yeah, a little bit of the Toad. The Penguin. I'm upset that you picked the Penguin as early as you did because Penguin's my favorite animal. I think I would be playing a lot of Penguin.
I only play as the Penguin.
Yeah, Connor is Mr. Penguin. Connor is the Penguin from the Batman series.
He's just a silly guy.
He really is. I just love that. Yeah, we do have the main roster and everything. A lot of people are upset that there's so many creature people. I'm like, not only do I not care, I think that the fact that so many people are choosing the creature characters instead of people that they've had memories with and experiences with for decades.
And it's not taking away from anything. It's not like I don't think that you take out the creature characters and they all of a sudden are adding in Link and
Samus,
Isabelle and stuff. Like like those will come later for sure, in my opinion. So
I don't even know about. Part of me doesn't want that. I want this to be Mario. I really do.
A lot of people thought that the evolution of this was going to just be you do Nintendo Kart and you add in all these characters and all the courses. And I think you can still do that later, but I think at the base level, it needs to be just very focused on Mario.
Yeah.
And that's what they did here. So now you can start sprinkling in
Hyrule courses. Like let's get crazy with it down the line. And I'm gonna need more of this game, and I'm gonna want more of this game. I think
first direct. Do you think we get DLC?
No.
Announced. Interesting.
I think that we won't get DLC announced for this for at least a year. Okay. I think that they're going to let this one marinate a little bit because they know the fact that like that's going to be great to have when you don't have 2 months in a row without a Nintendo first party. Hey, let's get some DLC in there and let you hop in. That's what they did with their 48 extra tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It was a great way to bolster their Nintendo Directs and bolster their Nintendo first party output. I think that when talking about this game, though, just overall and just finalizing thoughts, the courses are the game. And that's what Mario Kart's always been. It is about sitting on the couch and ripping Grand Prix for a long time.
When you're talking about the courses, are you talking about the 3 laps or are you talking about...
In this game, both.
The intermission. Okay, because I think that's a completely different story. Those are 2 different things.
I think that the intermissions are... a lot of people are not into the intermissions. And I get that. That's cool. I think that the intermissions are often so well done that, like, I really, really struggle to be like, oh, like, we're back on... I haven't had a single moment while playing this where I'm like, we're back on the intermissions. Like, oh, I just want to get to the fucking course. I haven't had that.
I have.
That's fine. I'm not taking away from that.
I think that if we're talking about the actual courses, we are talking about the best roster of courses ever in a Mario Kart game. The issue is that I find myself constantly not on the actual course. Yeah. And that's my frustration.
And here's the thing. I'm fine with, like I said in the actual, like, shorter review or whatever, there's that moment where you're going into Wario Shipyard and you are just jumping on those waves, just getting after it. And I'm just like, oh, dude, it's so good. There's the moments where zebras are running by you or the giant sandworms coming, like, or you're on the Golden Gate Bridge and the traffic is fucking insane. You're dodging, you're weaving, and it's tighter than like even Toad's Turnpike on something like the Wii or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or something. Like, I think some of these courses are so insanely creative and so well done. I fucking love it. Like, I love this. I love the courses in this game.
I still like the intermission sections. Like you said, the first Grand Prix, I think, does not do the intermission sections justice. I think it makes them look really bad.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no. Like when we did that first Grand Prix the first night, I was like, oh, I don't know if I like this very much. And then going through all of them on my own, I was like, by the end of it, I was like, these are totally fine. Like, I really do not think that this detracts. And I do think that it's cool that you have both. That if you want some variety here, you're basically getting double the courses.
You're getting so much more bang for your buck when it comes to the layout of the world, and that's a big part of like why I am focusing on the world aspect of it. When you're talking about the Mario Kart world and including the intermissions, there is more content in this game, I think, that, and we can remove free roam from this conversation. There's more content in this game than a deluxe, which has 96 fucking courses. Because the way that you are able to race these courses is, and sure, you can talk about like mirror mode and stuff like that, but it's like, no, the fact that I can go from point A to point B or back the other way and everything, you aren't downloading the courses the way that you do in any other Mario Kart game and really any other kart game. Like, you really are just going, and it's awesome. I think that this is a game we're going to play nonstop over the next year. Shocking no one, it's on Extra Life. Shocking no one also, there's a community night also planned. I think it's the first thermometer goal we have for Extra Life. Like, we're going to be playing this all the fucking time with the community as more people get Switches too and want to hang out and hop in that experience. This last night, I was like, had an hour. I was like, do I want to like reach out right now? And I was like, nah, I just want to be in bed and prop that thing open. I'm like, it was a bad choice. I should have gone on the Discord and played some Mario Kart with the community because it is so much fun. Those experiences are going to be so much fun. I think that the last discussion to have on this, it really is just the overarching one, because now we can actually talk about it in totality of the Switch 2 with Mario Kart World and the rest of the lineup. Now knowing our thoughts, I think that this game is like unbelievable. It does, for me, do what I needed. It, like, we talked so much about, will this game be the first like be good enough to be the single player thing? And I do want to toss this out there. I do think part of it is the fact that Death Stranding is around the corner for just what we do and everything, because this has been 3 weeks or 2.5-ish weeks. It will be Tuesday when Death Stranding 2 comes out, so about 3 weeks when it's all said and done. These 16 days of just only playing Switch, while also me playing Death Stranding and everything in the background, but like only playing Switch and really diving into the system and trying to figure out all the intricacies that it has, I've loved, and a large part is Mario Kart World. And like I think that it did a good enough job for me. With that being said, I know that it didn't do a good enough job for yourself and also so many others.
It's the right call, though. At the same time, from like a business perspective, Mario Kart World is going to be the best-selling game on this console. So getting it out there right at the jump and being your flagship title and selling it with the console is the right move. To like bundle it in and everything and have it be that cheaper option. You get like $30 off if you get it in the bundle. It's going to move units. And the hardcore like me who's looking for a more single player tailored experience that's going to like stick with me, I think that it's totally fine to be disappointed, but also understand that like this is just the start of the console. Like, everything that they're doing makes perfect sense to me and is probably the right call, with like the Switch 2 just being a better Switch 1, and that's being a little disappointing. Launching with the Mario Kart and that being a little disappointing. It's like that still makes sense to me, and I still think that it's what they should have done. But it does mute the overall launch of the console, even though I know that the next 6 months, I'm going to feel very differently about this console based off of what we already know is coming. So, yeah, I think that Mario Kart World is a great video game. It isn't exactly what I want from a launch title. Yeah. That's it. If it was the second title after Bonanza, for me personally, I would like it a lot better. Like that type of 1-2 experience. Having it be flipped is a little bit disappointing, but it's not like the end of the world or anything. Yeah. It's like, okay, like I'm like you said, I'm going to play Death Stranding next week, and then I'm going to be on to Donkey Kong Bonanza, and then after that, presumably, I'm on to Metroid Prime 4, and then so on and so forth from there. It's like, okay, like, this sounds like a great console launch year. So I think that the launch year is way more important than the first month, in my opinion. This
Yeah.
thing is going to sell itself in the first month.
It is already scheduled for us. I want to toss this out there. Just because I think it's a necessary conversation. We didn't mention this. We do find it a little bit silly to put a score on a console a couple weeks in. It's just such a difficult thing to process, but we felt like it was necessary to give overall thoughts and stuff like that. At the end of every single year that we do Co-op 4 and everything, Bonus Pod will be grading PlayStation's year, Xbox year for a week, and then Nintendo's year. And the last one that we have for this year is Nintendo is currently scheduled. We'll revisit this in a few months and be like, where do we stand?
I fully expect them to have the best year out of everybody.
Not only do I expect them to have the best year, I expect them to have a 10 out of 10 year.
And they only had 6 months to do it.
Exactly. What came out or before Donkey Kong? It's the Donkey Kong remake on Switch One.
Returns.
Is there anything else that happened on the Switch One that I'm forgetting? I feel like there was just
there's
nothing.
got to be something, but
Yeah, wild. All right, you ready to close out this episode, Connor?
yeah. Do you want first pick here?
No, I don't.
Tee it up.
All right. Today we are drafting the best games on PlayStation Plus Extra. This is a follow-up to the Game Pass draft that we did. Connor, you got the first pick.
With my first pick, I'm going to choose Bloodborne from Software's best title, one of the best single-player games of all time, and you can play it on PlayStation Plus Extra, so there you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a totally fine and fair pick. I'm going with my first pick to choose God of War Ragnarok. Arguably the best cast in any video game ever. I was up late last night rewatching clips of God of War Ragnarok, and it's really good. This game's really freaking good. So yeah, I'm going to take that as my first pick. And my second pick, let's toss some indie love in there. Let's take my favorite indie of all time. We're going to choose Undertale. I freaking love this game. I don't shut up about it. Just absolutely brilliant and the second best soundtrack in all of video games. Connor, what do you got?
With my second pick, I'm going to take Shadow of the Colossus remake from Blue Point, a remake of one of the greatest games of all time, a 10 out of 10 experience. Nothing like it. Climbing these big monsters, taking them out, getting this really nebulous, interesting story. Visually, this game is fantastic. Shadow of the Colossus with my second pick. With my third pick, I'm going to pick an all-time modern classic. We're going to take The Last of Us Part 1. What can be said about The Last of Us that hasn't already been said? We've talked about this game ad nauseum. You know what The Last of Us is. That's my third pick.
Next, I'm going to choose another indie. I'm going to go with Celeste. Just one of the best platformers ever. The fact that you can go and play this one on PlayStation Plus Extra, I feel like is how I should have played it. It would have been a lot cheaper than going and buying it and everything. But like, yeah, I think that the catalog here, it was really fun to go and do research for this draft because I was like, holy shit, not nearly enough recognizing the game that is over here on PlayStation Plus Extra. And then with my next pick, I'm going to choose one of my favorite games ever and one of the best. I'm going to choose Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This is Insomniac's best game. It's awesome. It's whimsical. It makes me laugh. The variety of weapons is top notch. It's the best in the Ratchet & Clank franchise. I love this game. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
You didn't pick Ghost?
I have one pick left.
Okay, well, I'm going to pick Ghost right now.
We already had the conversation. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is a better game than Ghost.
All right.
But like, maybe by a full point.
With my fourth pick, I'm going to pick Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. Get you ready for that Ghost of Yote coming up here soon. Excellent open world. Love the way that it guides you with the wind and the foxes and the birds and everything. Great combat, great story. You already know. Ghost of Tsushima. With my final pick, I'm going to go with The Witcher 3. Just got to shout out and give respect to one of the games that is considered by many to be at the top of the open world genre. So The Witcher 3 with my final pick.
With my final pick, I'm going to choose one from this year. I think that talking about things that are current and modern are a big reason why I like hopping in on these subscription services, because you got to play the new stuff. Like a lot of games for me, I wouldn't play God of War Ragnarok because I've already played it. I'm going to choose Blueprints. A little fun puzzle game right there, a little indie love. It's one of the best indie games this year, and I do think at this point, halfway through the year, there's a good shot that it is there at the end of the Game Awards season as one of the 6 nominees. So that's my final pick.
Let us know in the comments who you think won that. I think I just absolutely destroyed you, buddy.
I mean, I wanted to choose some niche picks.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
everyone's
understand.
fucking play. That's the big part of this. Everyone's fucking played The
Yeah,
Last
so
of
you're
Us.
just picking the best of the best. That's all.
That's normally my strategy when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
I'm choosing games that people probably haven't played yet. Like that's what I did with the Game Pass draft, where I was like, I really want to focus on things like Metaphor and Expedition, where these are so new and so modern. There's a chance people haven't tried them out yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, we got some Patreon names we got to read out.
Right.
Thank you to all the amazing members that support us over on patreon.com/coop64. This show would not be possible without you. Thank you for your continued support. I also have a fun one for you real quick. I announced this on a stream. If we hit 350 members over on Patreon, we'll do a full behind the scenes video for y'all. Somebody asked about that. I was like, yeah, if Patreon goal, sure, why not? And we're really close to that. So just a heads up over there. But truly to the people that make the show happen, whether you're at any tier over there, thank you so much for your support. And a major shout out to the people that support us over at that dearly beloved membership. It really helps the show in a major way. Amazing members like V Slashing,
Ooh, Gracie,
Gray Direwolf,
Fathead,
Deadman,
JC,
Only One Rufus,
Chuzar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocket Tater,
Nofi,
JC Falcon,
Frozen Crushes,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie,
Sconzy,
Cheery Sentry,
DQ Lonzer,
Strachan. I've deleted that somewhere. Strachan 1978.
Tyler D,
Scooterman,
Das Goopy,
Dingleberg Rules,
Centuru,
Hook'em Horns,
Go Nash,
Neutral Sphere,
Charlie W,
Easton C.
Stooby Dooby,
We Nuke This Kingdom.
Crispy,
DJ Zach B.
Uli,
Jacob D.
Big Mac,
Metal Nate.
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog.
Yogi,
Damn.
Holden M,
Conte.
Brock,
Voodoo.
Dr. Poogie Bear,
Alex the Golden.
Andrew H,
Master Diz.
Drifter X1 Skirt Skirt,
Presto.
Maverick,
Goops.
JMat B3,
Ali Ben Ali.
and Kingdom Hearts Sucks. Thank you so much for everybody who watched this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.